example, the second example in your handout, about dollar value LIFO. What dollar value LIFO does is it tries to remove inflation from inventory. So we've done one of these in class, but notice I have 9 through 2015. You have to do 1 year at a time. So basically, what you're doing is you're bringing the prices back down to the base year, which is the price index of 100%, and then you're identifying the layers and bringing those individual layers back up to their current year. So in 2009, the first year will always be sort of not necessary to do, but I have 80,000 divided by the price index gives us this. So this in essence is E divided by F equals G. So I'm bringing it back down to base year levels. Notice if you have inflation, this number will always be less than this number. So I'm removing inflation, so except for when you have 1. So I have my base year layer at 80,000. My index is 1. Now I'm going to bring it back up. Okay? So let me pause. Okay, for 2010, I have my inventory is 111,300. My index is 105. So I simply take this divided by 105 and I get my price in the base year, inventory at base year price. So I've removed inflation, and inflation has taken it up by 5%. So it's in base year price is 106,000. So now what I do is I want to identify what this is made up of. This 106,000 is made up of 80,000 from the base year and an additional 26,000. So these two numbers have to add up to the 106,000. So now I bring them back forward from their and state them in current year or the original year prices. So the 80,000 is from the 1 and the 26,000 is from the 105. So I multiply them back up. So I take the 80,000 times the 1 and I take the 26,000 times the 105 and I get 27,300. So now I have 2 layers, one at a 100 index and one at a 105. I add those 2 together and I get 107,300. My LIFO reserve is simply the inventory at end of year price minus the total of 107. So I have 4,000. So the 111,300 minus the 107 is 4,000. So now let's go on to 2011. Okay, in 2011 I have 108,000 at a price index of 1.2. So I take the 108 divided by 1.2, so I get 90,000. That is made up of 80,000 of this level and 10,000 of the next level. So notice it's gone down. This is going to become important in just a second. So I have 80,000 there. I don't need all 26. I only need 10 of them. So my index is 80,000 at the 1 and I only have 10,000 at the 105 price index. So I multiply them 80,000 times 1, 10,000 times 105 to get 10,500. And so I have 90,500 of those two added together. And my 17,500 is my 108 minus my 95. So what I want you to notice is there is now no 1.2 price index year. All I've done is actually eaten into the 105 price index year and has 10,000 left. This will never have a layer in it. Okay, in 2012 I have 122,200 at 1.3, 130, 130% price level. So I take the 94,000 is 122.2 divided by 1.3. I want you to try these as you go along. And so now I have that 94,000 is made up of this 80,000 plus this 10,000, so that's 90,000. So I need 4,000 more. So 4,000 comes from this price index. So I just pull these two numbers down to there. Okay, so I have my 80,000 times 1, 10,000 times 105, and my additional 4,000 from the 1.3 price level year. So notice there was no 1.2. It will never happen because your inventory went down that year. So I add them together to get 95,700 is my total LIFO inventory, dollar value LIFO, and my LIFO reserve is 122 minus 26. In 2013, I have 147,000. My price index is 1.4, so I divide by that. Remember, the base year price, as long as you have inflation, is going to be lower. So if you get inclined to multiply, that will be higher. So if you forget what you do, remember this needs to be lower because we're removing inflation, and so that can help you decide you need to divide by 1.4. So now again, I bring down these numbers as long as I have enough. So this is more than 94, so I'm going to bring them all down, 80, 10, and 4. And that comes down to 94,000, so I need 11,000 at the 140 price index level. So I'm multiplying back out, I'm bringing them back up to their current year, and I add them up, 111.5, so my 147 minus 111.1 is 35.9. 2014, 176.9, index of 145, divide by 1.45 to bring it down to base year. Bring it down to base year, split it out. I need these to add up to 122, so this is 105 and it's gone up, so I'm going to need all of these. So I bring the 80, 10, 4, and 11 all down, and then that gives me 105, so I need an additional 17,000 from the 145 level. I bring them back up to the individual layers based on their index, so I add up to 135, 750, and I have my LIFO reserve of 41.5. Okay, so my last year is 2015. In 2015, I have 159,000. Divided by 1.5, I get 106,000. Now notice I should have a problem because I've gone down, so I can't just simply copy all these numbers down. But I bring down the 80, the 10, the 4, and the 11. So 80, 10, 4, and 11. So that should be 105,000. Just add it up. And so I only need 1,000 of the 145 level. So this should add up to ruin my formula, but these should all add up to 106,000, and they do. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so these, I'm splitting those out. I need to bring them back up. So 105, 130, 140, 145. To bring them up there, I add them to the 135,750 is all these added up. Now my LIFO reserve is 159 minus 135. And notice there will be no 1.5 year because my inventory went down from 122,000 at base year prices. So notice the years I will never have is the 1.2, and that's what LIFO reserve is, or dollar value LIFO.